Hello everyone. Today we will learn about the smallest building block of all matter, that is atoms. So, have you ever wondered, like we have heard about bricks, which are building blocks of building. So it is made up of some ash or some sand materials or some mud materials. So what have you ever wondered what kind of materials are involved in making an atom? There are many answers to it. So, at the earlier period, Mr. John Dalton, used to tell that the atom is like a plum pudding. So, it's like a plum pudding in its totally it is positive and some cherries are being spread, which is negative things. So, but in the refined version, in the latter period, we got to know that a atom is consisting of three things. So, first one is protons, next is electrons, next is neutrons. So protons are basically positively charged entities, electrons are negatively charged entities, and whereas neutrons are totally neutral entities. So basically we have in a full atomic model we get to see a nucleus in which we have proton and neutrons. So basically the nucleus is totally a positive entity, and surrounding that positive things we have electrons which are having confined orbits, like we see in solar system there is a sun, and around the specific orbits we see different planets. So here, as planets are revolving around the sun, we have electrons revolving around the specific orbit around the nucleus. So now we will go to how these were actually brought out. So the scientist known as Ernst Rutherford basically introduced the term nucleus. Then his student Niels Bohr introduced the terms orbits, then electrons, how it is revolving about it. So in the latter period we will able to know how the very descriptive things and very important rules regarding how the electrons are rotating around the in the specific orbit around the nucleus. So we have basically Bohr in the modern day science. Bohr has contributed a lot. So Mr. Bohr has given us the term shell. The shell is basically the orbit, and we have the electrons who are moving around it. So there the cells are named as K, L, M, N, like that. So each cell, the number of electrons which are in each cell is basically given by the expression 2n square. Suppose in the first cell means n is equal to 1, n is number of cell. If n is equal to 1, the 2n square, how much it is having? 2. So first cell will be having 2 electrons. Then we come to the next cell, that is n is equal to 2, or cell number 2. So we have 2n square, that is 2 into 2 square is 4. 2 into 4 is 8. So we have 8. Similarly in the next cell, that is m cell, we have 18 electrons. So similarly it goes on. So 18, 32 and 64, like that. So here we should know a term known as valency and valence electrons. So basically atoms are basically what? The building blocks. So it has to how in the building also we use some cement to attach the two bricks and make a building. So here we have a concept called bonds. So basically in the bonds we have what we do, we have exchange of electrons. So what are electrons are exchanged here? So we have basically exchange of valence electrons. So what are these valence electrons? The valence electrons are those electrons which are taking part in bonding, or we can say basically the outermost shell electrons are basically valence electrons. And what do we mean by the term valency? The valency suggests that how much electrons can be given or can be taken for reaction to perform. So I'm just talking about give and take. What is this give and take? So basically this give and take theory or give and take mechanism is performed during chemical reaction. So there are two types of chemical reactions where, like chemical bonding, we are saying that the two bricks are joined by cement. So what is that cement? That cement is type of bond, and that bond is created by exchange of electrons or exchange of ions. So here what happens in exchanging, the electrons are exchanged. Suppose there are two elements. So if they are same elements, then we can have a covalent bond, that is known as sharing. So that we can term as molecule, like oxygen molecule, hydrogen molecule, chlorine molecule, and other things like compounds. The compounds we can define compounds as the bonding of two different kind of elements. So like sodium and chloride form sodium chloride. Those are basically ionic bond in which gain or loss of electrons happens. And in case of these non-metals, as we have learnt in the previous classes, non-metals are basically covalent bond, that is sharing of bonds. So various type of bonding there. We will learn this kind of how bonding techniques happen in higher classes, and specifically know how this mechanism happens. So I would like to end this class by just summarizing what I have just learned. Just made you learn that first we will knew about atoms, what is the properties of atom, how they are made up of, and what about I just told about the scientists who have brought out the atom and the concepts behind atom, theories behind atom. Then we discussed about valency. Okay, the first cell and valency. Then we also discussed about how many number of electrons are there in the orbits, or in the orbit, in the orbit. So I would like to end here. Okay, so we will meet in the next class. Thank you.